Welcome back to Axis Anime. My name is Henshin Ikeda, and today I'll be doing a walkthrough review of One Piece episode 594. Now, if you remember from last episode, we find out Caesar Clown wants Franky's body only because of the laser beam technology that's inside, but he has no idea that Nami is the one in Franky's body, thanks to Law. I know, right? Now, moving on past that, we find out the Cool Brothers have Nami, who is in Franky's body, and they have no idea that this is a woman in Franky's body, so they're calling Franky queer. Definitely worth mentioning, and hilarious, by the way. Now, we do find out Luffy as well as Franky are now going after Nami in general to save her. Now, Franky is in Chopper's body, and when he transforms, yeah, he turns on Luffy, goes all apeshit on him, and Luffy eventually knocks out Franky. You know, so sad, too bad, but he got in his fucking way. That was the end result, man. Now, again, Luffy is now going after the Cool Brothers, and they've escaped with Nami on top of the mountain. I know, they got away pretty good. But they run into the Law. You know who I'm talking about, Trifle Law, man. They run into Law. How unexpected. And Law, he chops the Cool Brothers up right in half. And he saves Nami? Huh? I know, right? And at the end of the episode, we find out Law wants to create an alliance with Luffy, as well as the Straw Hat crew in general, to take out an Emperor and to find some key that's on the island. And again, that's where the episode ends, and all my final thought and rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned. But let's dive right on in. So we open up this episode with Law and Luffy, and they're actually discussing this alliance. Yeah, I know I said alliance because I like pronouncing it that way. I know it's funny, but sorry, I digress. But again, Law and Luffy are discussing the alliance in general that they're going to have in order to take down one of the emperors. Okay, well, first of all, which emperor are we talking about? Shanks? Tex, maybe. You know, Blackbeard is probably the most feared one right now we're dealing with. Or Big Ma'am, which I would assume, you know, Luffy would be head over heels for taking out Big Ma'am because she's already got business with her. But again, we really don't know. Now, Nami, she's being very skeptical. She's like, wait a minute, Law, aren't you one of them? I mean, what's the dealio here? Okay, well, here, Nami, let's do a little flashback here. Where were you a couple years back when Luffy was dying? Oh, yeah, you weren't here. And Law was, and, you know, being a doctor and a pirate, he, you know, put his pirate side aside, and he saved Luffy's life. But no, Nami, by all means, be skeptical, you skeptical bitch. Plain and simple. But sorry, moving on past that, after we find out Nami's getting all skeptical about Law, I'm taking to a little cutscene with Law and Luffy is questioning Law. Which emperor? That was the big question. Luffy asked Law, okay, well, which emperor? Now, we don't get to hear what the emperor's name is, but he's mumbling. Law tells Luffy. Now, Luffy knows, and he says, yes, I'm all in for it. But again, we don't know who this emperor is. Is it Blackbeard? Big Ma'am? Shanks? We don't know. We just know it's one of the emperors. Take Law out of the mix, and probably take Shanks. My best guess is not going to be Shanks. It's either Big Ma'am or Blackbeard. Now, it's convenient if it's Big Ma'am. Now, if it's Blackbeard, you're going to have a large task ahead of you, and for Luffy, it sounds like fun. Regardless of which emperor, he says yes, without thinking. Obviously, he knows what he's getting into. Now, we are taking to a little cutscene with Robin, and Robin is willing to go along with Luffy's decision. Obviously, because Luffy is the captain, and he's never really stirred the Straw Hat crew in the wrong direction intentionally. At least it didn't benefit the crew anyways. But again, Robin is definitely with him, but she's cautioning him on his actions and what he has decided upon. Definitely worth mentioning. At least Robin is thinking kind of like Nami, but in a more relaxed sense. Now, Luffy asks Law the betrayal question. Because, again, Robin asks Luffy, or more or less tells Luffy, you know, he's probably going to betray you since he's a pirate. So Luffy turns around and asks Law, so are you going to betray me? And Law says to Luffy, no. Okay, wait, I'm sorry. Why would you ask a pirate if he or she's gonna betray you? You're a pirate. You don't have to tell the truth regardless. If you're gonna betray someone, that's your secret. You know, if you're gonna have a coup d'etat or whatever, and you know, take over someone's crew or, you know, destroy your alliance, the last thing you're gonna do is tell the person you're with, yeah, I'm going to backstab you. I'm sorry, find the humor in that. Really? Of course, Law's gonna say no. But then again, Law, he's a good guy in general, just putting that out there. Now, Luffy, after he hears the answer of, no, I'm not going to betray you, he's like, you know what, okay, that's it. We're all in this, all my crew members, we're with you, Law. The alliance has been established. Like, okay, this is pretty sweet. Luffy, Law, the double L's, come on, who doesn't like that? That's a good match. That's a good matchup. Just putting that out there. Now moving on past that, we do find out Law, he turns everyone back into normal. Kind of like he's anteing up, since this is now an alliance, he's turning everyone back into their own self. So you do see, Frankie and Chopper going back into their bodies, and so on and so forth. And Chopper is pissed because Frankie screwed his body over, so he's now in a little body cast. Kind of cute, but, annoying still. But moving on past that, we find out Nami, her body isn't there. Because remember, Sanji is off looking for the samurai, and he's been defeated, of course. But yeah, where does that leave Nami? She's in Sanji's body? Talk about irony. The guy that's the pervertial one, you're in his body. Oh, come on, she's gonna look. Who wouldn't? It's Sanji. It's like, okay, well, this guy's interested in me. Maybe I'm just gonna... Okay, we're good. No, I'm sorry, I digress. But moving on past that, we are taking to a little cutscene with Law, and he's throwing us with a little bit of information. He's pointing out that the world government, at one point in time, which was on this island, like the Navy and whatnot, the world government was screwing around and experimenting with their prisoners and trying to make them bigger, like giants, because if their prisoners, or in fact more of their Navy personnel, were giants, it would definitely benefit them military-wise. So their military power would grow. So it's because of the Navy that, well, not just the Navy, it's because of Caesar Clown that these kids became giants. Because at one point in time, remember, Caesar Clown was part of the Navy. He was a scientist for them. So that was part of the reason why these kids are giants, is because of what the world government was kind of after. But again, that was just a little bit of information, if that made any sense, of course. Now, moving on past that, we are taking to a little cutscene with Law and Chopper. Apparently, both Law and Chopper, they want to find out about this drug that Caesar Clown had created that infected these kids, that made these kids addicted to this drug. And now that Law is in an alliance with Luffy and the Straw Hats, he's now obligated to help out Chopper to find out the reason about why Caesar Clown made this drug and more about the drug in general. So they're going to go off and they're going to kidnap Caesar Clown. That's the plan. Just Chopper, which is in a wrecked body right now, and Law. Interesting matchup. I know I didn't see that coming, to be honest. Now, Luffy, however, is going to take the rest of the Straw Hats, and they're going to go after the samurai and find out where Sanji and the rest of those guys are, of course. So that definitely makes sense, in my opinion. But we are taking to a little cute scene with Chopper and Luffy. Oh, well, not Chopper and Luffy. I mean, Chopper and Law. And you see Chopper on Law's head, because that's the only way that Chopper can be transported since his body's been wrecked. But no, that doesn't really end up happening. After we see a little cute little picture, interesting little picture, Law takes Chopper off of his head and puts it on his sword. Kind of a little cruel, but you know what? He's being forced to do something he doesn't want to do in order to keep this alliance going, so it kind of makes sense that he's going to be a dickhead about it, in my opinion. Now, we are taking to a little cutscene with Brownbeard's crew. Yeah, Brownbeard's crew has now opened the metal doors that Caesar Clown had told them to open. Beforehand, they never were allowed to open this metal doors into this warehouse, and now they are. So, Brownbeard's crew, not knowing that Brownbeard's dead, of course, they go inside this warehouse that Caesar Clown tells them to go into. They open up the doors, and they run into a shadow-like creature. So not a weapon of mass destruction, a large fucking creature. Figures. Lambs to slaughter, more or less. Now, moving on past that, we are taking a look at cutscene with Law, and Law is now updating the Straw Hat crew before they leave and they go their separate ways for their little side missions, of course. Law informs them of Caesar Clown and what he's capable of doing, at least what he knows. Now, so far what we know about Caesar Clown is that he's a Logo-type user of the Gas fruit. Definitely worth mentioning. So he is a Logia type, so he's definitely up there with Smoker and the rest of them as well. So he's a force to kind of be reckoned with, but you know what, I'm not feeling it though. Now also, Caesar Clown, he owns weapons of mass destructions. Well, no shit, he's an evil scientist. What evil scientist doesn't own weapons of mass destruction? Look at Mojo Jojo from the Powerpuff Girls. I mean, come on. Best example. Now, moving on past that, of course, it's being pointed out, yes, Caesar Clown was a former scientist for the world government. Anyone else didn't pick that up, really? I think by now, everyone fucking knows. I mean, seriously. And again, the general plan is to kidnap Caesar Clown with hockey users. I know, I had to put that out there. So, Law basically tells the Straw Hats, we're going to kidnap Caesar Clown. I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen next, but we're going to kidnap Caesar Clown. And everything else is going to fall into place after that. But there's no turning back after this. And, Law, Luffy, everyone else, they're all in regardless. And again, Law, the general plan that Law comes up with, we're going to kidnap Caesar Clown with hockey users. I'm like, okay, wait, how many hockey users do we have? Luffy, Law, Zoro. I mean, that's at least 3. To my knowledge, I think there was a 4th one they were talking about, but I'm not going to get into any more details about that. Just that only hockey users are going to be useful in this situation. Ain't that a bitch for the rest of the crew? It's like saying, yeah, if you can't use hockey, you guys are useless. Yet somehow the Strive crew does not care. They're still going to help. And Law is very stunned. He's like, wow, you got a really damn good crew. Obviously, he doesn't say that, but the expression, you can tell. He's like, wow, I want that crew. That crew's pretty damn good. I mean, it is. Moving on past that, we are taken to the Navy. Where the hell is the Navy at? So we're taken to a little cutscene with Tashigi. And Tashigi is basically confirming that the men that have been on the island that they're fighting are the prisoners from 4 years ago. So the pirates that actually ambushed the Navy, yeah, they were the prisoners on the island 4 years ago. And they shouldn't be on the island. This island should be vacant. So that's kind of a red flag for Tashigi to bring up. Definitely worth mentioning. Now, Caesar Clown is actually abandoning his men, if that makes any sense. So Caesar Clown, all the pirates he sent into the warehouse, he's abandoning them. He's forgetting about them. He's like, you know what? Lambs to slaughter. Plain and simple. I know. We see the pirates that entered the warehouse, they've been attacked by a blob, a pink-like blob. I know in the subtitles it says slime, pink slime of some sort, but I could care less about really what the hell it is. Either way, the pirates that enter the warehouse that Caesar Clown had instructed them to do, they run into a pink slimy blob, and it's called Smiley. What? You call your fucking weapon of mass destruction, which is a pink slime, Smiley? And again, that's where the episode ends. As for final thoughts, okay, well, first of all, what is Law after? This key? We have no idea what this key that can wreak havoc really is. And which emperor does he plan on taking on? Is it Big Mom? Maybe. That would benefit Luffy, since that's the next plausible person he wants to attack. Because, you know, Fisherman Island and whatnot. Now, technically Shanks wouldn't be the next one, because I mean, Luffy and Shanks have a past, you know, history. I would assume probably not. As for Tech, aka Blackbeard, probably. Best case scenario, that would be your next best bet if it's not Big Man, plain and simple. And moving on past that, what the hell is up with Caesar Clown's, you know, weapon of mass destruction known as Smiley, this pink slime? What? Really? I'm sorry, do we go slightly Pokemon here with, you know, I want to say Ghastly, but no, not Ghastly, you know what I'm talking, Magmar. No, not Magmar. Well, you know, it's one of the Pokemon in the original series. Fucking Blob. I'm like, really? Ah, it's the slimy Blob. I'm sorry. And again, that's the end of my final thoughts. As for my rating, 3.5 out of 5. Romance, drama, not so much. As for new information, kind of. Law gives us some new information, definitely worth mentioning. As for, again, new information beyond that, not so much. We still don't know which emperor, what the hell is this key that Law is so interested in obtaining, we really don't know. And as for fighting, not so much. There really wasn't a lot of hands-on fighting, just enough to get something started for the next episode. But again, final rating, 3.5 out of 5. And that is it for my walkthrough and review of One Piece episode 594. So definitely comment down below, let me know, thumbs up, thumbs down. Definitely subscribe, check me out on Twitter, and follow me if you like. But let me know what you thought of this episode, and let me know what you think's gonna happen in the next episode that's coming up, because I can't wait to find out what's gonna happen. But again, guys, that is it for now, and I gotta hit the bricks and I gotta go. And before I go, I gotta say it, and I always say it. You can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.